And I'll tell you what I see in people that are going to pass. I see a smile on their face in the first few minutes of the case interview. Like they have just gotten invited to the greatest scavenger hunt in the world. They're going to go on it and they know that they're going to come out with a great prize. Hey, I'm Jenny Ray LaRue, a former Bain consultant, and I'm excited to share with you the number one thing that I've seen consultants do in every case interview. Before we dive into the content, if you're not subscribed, we have a ton of great job opportunities, alerts on timing, and other key tips for interviews and more right here on the channel. So please make sure you're subscribed. Now let's dive in. At our company, we've helped over 15,000 people break into consulting, and I've seen over 1,000 case interviews myself a year for over a decade. And in that process, I have seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. And one of the things that has surprised me is that as much as we teach about mechanics and about what's required to do really well in the case, which is absolutely true, a lot of what we teach at Management Consulted helps people not to fail. So in this video, I'm actually going to share with you one of the secrets on how to succeed, how to go beyond the failure level up to middle and then going all the way to the offer. And this is coming from watching people across every firm. We've helped people get into 170 firms in the last year alone, across boutiques, corporate strategy, product management, as well as traditional MBB consulting. So if you are diving into the case in the wrong way, if you have the wrong mindset for the case, and if you walk into the case interview thinking that you're trying to do something that is different than what the interviewer is actually looking for from you, it's really hard to get this one thing right. What am I talking about? Well, when I walk through cases with people, I can usually tell in the first few minutes whether or not they are likely to pass the interview. And that's whether I'm testing them for a first round or a final round. And there are a few key characteristics that I see that I could lump up into one core thing. Number one, the students who are going to crush the case, and that's from undergrad all the way up to 20 plus years of experience. They are uniquely passionate about business problem solving. And actually one specific instance of this comes to mind. I gave a case on the airline industry, and this was probably at least 5 years ago. But I talked to a guy who had actually interned at Delta in undergrad, and I didn't know it. We had not gone through the background of his resume, but you should have seen his eyes light up with this case. Now, one of the challenges when somebody knows an industry super well is that they can actually go through too much detail and not get to the point of the case. But he had this perfect balance of he understood the industry, he brought that information to bear, but what he demonstrated was just the perfect encapsulation of what I'm talking about here. And this is enthusiasm for business problem solving. And I'll tell you what I see in people that are going to pass. I see a smile on their face in the first few minutes of the case interview. Like they have just gotten invited to the greatest scavenger hunt in the world. They're going to go on it and they know that they're going to come out with a great prize. Now, how does that show up inside the case? And how is enthusiasm limited? I mean, I think these are important things to mention too, because you can't just come in with a cheerleader's outfit on, psyched about the case, and they're not going to hire you just for that. You have to have the chops to do it too. And so you have to make sure that that enthusiasm is conveyed with the same amount of clarity that you would need to finish a problem all the way to the end. So you can't just get excited about starting the problem. You actually have to consistently block and tackle through the case to get all the way to the answer. So being answer focused, not just answer first, but answer focused is a key element of case enthusiasm. Why? Because it demonstrates to me that you're not just there excited about learning, excited about going on the journey, but actually excited about arriving at the destination. So you're going to be hypothesis driven. You're going to tie everything back to your hypothesis. You're going to drive me toward an answer, and you're going to do it really quickly if you are more enthusiastic about business problem solving inside the case. In addition, it can go really wrong if you are so enthusiastic that you are willing to look at absolutely anything without any prioritization. So I'm still looking for you to maintain a sense of structure and priority inside the case and to throw things out that you think are probably important, but not important enough to get us to the answer in a limited amount of time. So I need both your answer first, problem focused thinking, and I also need for you to be demonstrating that you can kind of pull things out that are not as important and throw them on the cutting room floor. Because enthusiasm on the job Over applied becomes somebody who never finishes a problem, is always up until 2 in the morning, is never satisfied with the 80 to 90% good enough answer, and never gets the client to an actual action, but is simply stuck in data evolution over and over and over again. So I'm looking for the enthusiasm, but I'm looking for it balanced with the same core skills that are going to make you great on the job. Going back to that interview with the guy who did the airline case, I just thought he did a fantastic job of this. So he wove in his personal stories. His eyes lit up. He smiled. He actually even specifically asked about the timeline because we were talking about Wi-Fi on planes, and he didn't know if the timeline of the case factored in the last 6 months of development in the technology. He was just really precise. But then once he got his core questions answered and he really isolated what we're really solving inside the case, he got down to the math, he got down to business. He solved just the problem I was asking for. And then at the end, he brought in a little bit of extra color that just demonstrated that he wished that he had more time. And the result was I did too. And ultimately, if I walk out of an interview feeling like I wish I had more time with the candidate, more time to solve the problem with them, that's exactly what I'm going to get when I hire them. I'll get lots of time with them. In fact, I'll get time to spend with them, developing them, mentoring them, challenging them. They'll get a chance to challenge me back. We'll have lots of conversations like the one that we just had. And what I want to do is right now just kind of end by tying this to the big picture. I'm not looking for you to be great at cases. I'm looking for you to be great at a job. And being great at a job has a lot to do with your ability to work with other people, to bring energy, enthusiasm to a team that is often overworked, challenged, frustrated, stressed, and frazzled. And so your ability to bring that enthusiasm with clarity all the way to the end of a project bodes really well for how much fun it's going to be to work with you 10 to 12-hour days over 10 to 12-week projects or longer on the job. So just don't forget when you walk into the interview that you're not actually testing for a case. Sometimes we can forget that. We feel like we go through this practice and that's part of what makes people really robotic. What you're looking for is connection with a human. You're looking for an enthusiasm around the problem, a delivery of a solution, and then ultimately a great conversation that builds on that for your fit interview as well. So if you have questions about how to apply, how to break in, or some of the X factors that really help make sure that you deliver and over deliver on these cases, because in such a challenging environment, it's so critical to do so. Please feel free to reach out to us on the channel. Drop a comment about your favorite case that you've ever done and why. We can nerd out together and then just get excited. It's an honor to be even considered for an interview. I really felt that when I walked into my Bain and McKinsey interviews. I felt thrilled to be in the room. And if you feel that, that's a great place to start. Have fun. Look forward to cheering you on.